Hello, dear viewers. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this latest edition of the news in English on Rwanda Television. My name is Serge Hori. We'll begin with the headlines, as is always. President Mamadi Doumbouya of Guinea and the First Lady of that country have concluded their three-day official visit to Rwanda. Activities preceding the 30th commemoration of the genocide that was committed against the Tutsi have officially begun in the country. Now the news in detail. On Saturday at the Kigali International Airport, President Paul Kagame and First Lady Jeannette Kagame bid farewell to President Mamadi Doumbouya of Guinea and the First Lady of that country, Laurent Doumbouya, as they concluded their official visit to Rwanda. The visit lasted 3 days and featured discussions between the two leaders and their delegations geared towards further boosting the bilateral relations that exist between Rwanda and Guinea. Now, as we noted in the headlines, activities preceding the commemoration of the genocide that was committed against the Tutsi here in Rwanda were officially began in Huye district of the southern province on Saturday with the monthly community work known as Umuganda, with the planting of trees signifying security and peace. The trees were planted mostly by primary, secondary, and university students in a forest that is now recovering from deforestation. The objective is to plant more than 1 million trees before the commemoration period begins in April, a reference to the more than 1 million Tutsi who were mercilessly slaughtered in what would later be recognized as the fastest genocide in recorded human history. Following the tree planting activity, the Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement took the time to meet and speak to the students who participated. The meeting took place at the University of Rwanda, and Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana explained to the young men and women the significance of the choices they make, pointing out that history taught a bitter lesson to youth on the importance of making the right decision, a lesson they should take to heart for the sake of the future of the country. The youth present vowed not to allow themselves to be misled by those who seek to sow divisionism among them and asked that such discussions be organized across the country at the local level so that more young people can hear the important message. Now, officials in the Ministry of Local Government are they're urging local residents living close to water bodies to be careful and regularly check that the boats they use to cross the waterways are fit for use. This follows a boating accident in Rwamagana district of the Eastern Province on Friday evening that claimed the lives of 16 people. The boat had been carrying 47 people when it sank into Lake Mugesera. 2 bodies of the presumed deceased are yet to be retrieved from the lake. The bodies of the other 14 victims of the accident were buried on Saturday. Our condolences to the families of the deceased. Moving on to other matters, industrialists and the private sector are showing that they are burdened with the fee of standard verification and the long procedures through 3 different institutions, suggesting that they should at least be harmonized into one that is in charge of the process. Prince Manzi with the details.
The institutions in court are the Rwanda Food and Drugs Authority, Rwanda FDA, the Rwanda Inspectorate Competition and Consumer Protection Authority, RICA, and the Rwanda Standards Board, RSP. Industrialists find the mandates of these institutions similar. Allowing us to operate, we also request permits in RSP, but some of their responsibilities are kind of similar, and you find that it to be like a duplicate. I think the public institutions in charge of standards were to be merged in one entity and then be having some departments in it. If the institution would be in charge of standards, it would be having a department in charge of foods and drugs standards, a department in charge of tools standards. This issue was also raised in the 19th National Mushyikirano Council, which convened on 23rd and 24th this month.
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika ni zihe ngamba zashyirwaho?
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, what measures would be taken to reduce the procedures required by the institutions of RSP, Rwanda FDA and RICA, which often look similar? Currently, these services are expensive and it takes 6 months to get one certificate, and yet this certificate can be issued by one of these institutions. The private sector personnel also demonstrate that apart from the expensiveness of the standards documents, the procedure is stressing, hence urging for a solution to this. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Jean-Chrysostome Ngabitsinze, reiterated that this issue is being addressed. We were given the way forward by the Prime Minister, and we are currently working on restructuring for these institutions to have a deduction in terms of the applicated services. And I can say that soon we take the advancements to the Prime Minister for approval. It is being addressed, Your Excellency. On these explanations of the Minister of Trade and Industry, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, urged for a quick response to this issue, adding that nothing would lead to the delay in standard verification documents.
Nta muntu n'umwe ushobora kunsobanurira impamvu bitwara iki gihe cyose bitava mu nzira.
No one can explain to me the reason as why is there such delay. Nothing amazingly there is to do. Firstly, you are bystanding, and yet this is an issue that spent some years without being addressed. Second, if the issue is demonstrated, why should it take a while to be addressed? I want the Minister of Trade and Industry to justify this for me. Thank you, Your Excellency. After identifying various challenges demonstrated by this personnel, it has been 4 months since we discussed this, and we agreed that all the ministries in charge and the RDB. Minister, I asked you to justify why that time. Tack on that, otherwise that's a repetition. Your Excellency, we cannot have any justification, it's just that we delayed. This might go on and on. You have to explain why things delay. Otherwise, what would you be doing? The delay and collision of responsibilities of institutions in charge of standards verification permits would reduce the number of small and medium investors' development journey and also give room to corruption and injustice. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
The Rwanda Biomedical Center has announced that 44% of all fatalities in the country's hospitals come as a result of complications that come about from the effects of non-communicable diseases, which is why regular testing for an earlier diagnosis, that is, for such diseases is so important. Meanwhile, community health workers have now started to provide testing with the hopes that more people will be made aware of the condition before it is too late, an initiative that is being championed by the Ministry of Health. Research conducted in 2022 found that 16.8% of people have high blood pressure, while 2.9% of the population has diabetes. Every year, as many as 5,000 people are diagnosed with cancer, while 4,000 of existing cases end in death. The research also found 650 breast cancer cases, 23 of them male. Rwanda currently has 5 labs capable of testing for cancer, with testing for breast and cervical cancers conducted all the way from the health sector level. Farmers in Burera say they are no longer using human waste as manure after health officials in the district taught them of the consequences of such practices, pointing out diseases that come as a result of a lack of hygiene had become rampant in the area, especially intestinal worms. The farmers now use conventional manure and industrial-grade fertilizers for their farming activities and store human waste for 5 years before using it in that way, because health officials have warned them that using it before then would be dangerous. As much as 14% of Burera's population has been found to have intestinal worms, with the sector with the highest number of cases reaching as high as 27% of its population. Now, following activities to upgrade the Mushumbati-Homero-Hora Road to tarmac in Rutsiro district, local residents with commercial activities in Weneza sector have asked that it reach their area as well, noting that it will stop just 8 kilometers away. falling short of a sector with hotels, coffee processing plants, a hospital, and more investments located close to Lake Kivu. District officials have given reassurances to the local residents that Rwanda will not be excluded and the entire project will be completed in a period of 15 months, with the new road stretching for 41 kilometers and done at a cost of more than 19 billion Rwandan francs. Once complete, it is expected to significantly boost tourism activities in that area. To Burera, where local residents there are commending the resumption of construction activities on the Base-Butaro-Kidaho road that had stalled for a decade, negatively affecting commercial activities in that area, especially trade with other districts. Stretching for 63 kilometers, the upgrading of the road originally began in 2014, but later came to a halt. At the recently concluded 19th National Mshichirano Council, President Paul Kagame instructed the concerned authorities to ensure that the activities are properly concluded as soon as possible. And the Rwanda Transport Development Agency has given assurances that the road will be complete before the end of next year. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. I'll see you soon again. Goodbye.